Those 9 lines, let's hear from you. It's all yours now. Russell in Memphis will start us. Russell, good afternoon. How are you, pal? Okay?
Chris, doing great. I love listening to you, man. I got to tell you, first of all, I'm not going to tell you what I do for a living, but Coach Saban would absolutely love to talk to you. If you call the athletic department, don't call the PR, just call the athletic department, ask for his secretary, and I guarantee you'll have him on the air. All right, let me tell you something.
Well, hold on now. What do you mean guarantee? You know for a fact he's somehow a SiriusXM listener?
I'm telling you now, the guy would love to sit down and talk with you. I'm telling you. But let me tell you this. For us Alabama fans who've had season tickets since Coach Bryant, Tua was not a surprise. You nailed it. Not a surprise. A lot of people have been saying that way before the Mississippi State game because they feel like he was going to transfer if they don't play him. The penalties were there, no doubt about it. But, man, you being a drama guy, talking about, MLB playoffs, the drama of that, you got to tell me what you think about this Tua kid coming in. He's Timmy's age. He was at prom last year. He came into that game and did what he did, and for Jalen Hurts to show the class, I got to get your thoughts on that, man. I know you said you had it number 5 on the list, but aside from the decision, just talk to me about this freshman kid coming in there.
Hey, he did
what he did.
Now, we will call that office, and let's see if Eddie can put that together. Give him the call. Eddie, give him this, the zip code, Eddie. The area code. He did listen.
205.
Yeah. All right, 205 is right. Russell, listen, he did a superb job. Don't get me wrong. He made the great pass play. He had some moxie. He gave him a little energy. He moved him down the field. He scrambled okay. Big third down scramble there early on in the scenario. But they won the game really for other reasons than the kid. They won the game more because of the events that are around it than the fact that he went out there. Now, listen, he made a great pass in overtime. Nobody's going to get you. Nobody's going to sit there and say anything different. He made a great pass in overtime. They got the 1 field goal there in the third quarter because of the defense on the intercept. They got a couple of breaks on the on the penalty scenario on the pass interference, and then a kid moved on the touchdown. I don't want to sit there and take anything away from him, but I do think there was a bigger theme of the game than the quarterback. Now, my point is, you had to put him in the game. You had no choice. You had to put him in the game. The Hurts stunk. You had to get him in the game. As far as Hurts is concerned, and are we making him out to be, basically the greatest teammate in the history of mankind? It looked like it was real. He did talk to him all day after the game. He looked like it was real. I know the competitor. All I'll say is this. The competitor, and I'm a little stupid 58-year-old fart. The competitor in me, I don't think I'd be able to show that kind of enthusiasm. I'd be happy we won, but I'd be as upset about my horrendous performance. And I don't know if I'd be dancing around I'd be happy for my teammate. I'd be glad we won, but I don't know if I could be dancing around the building all excited because, we figured out a way to win the game when I played as horrendously as I did. Now, I know everybody wants to say this is the greatest ideal of sportsmanship I've ever seen. It's almost too good to be true. Let's put it that way. I know Steve was all teary-eyed when he went to sleep last night thinking about the great Jalen Hurts and his diplomacy. I said to myself, oh, come on now. He's really, after your performance, you're this happy? That was my take. Now, I might be wrong, but that was my take. Now, if Nick Saban wants to come on, maybe Eddie can pick up the phone and make a call. Chris in Colorado, and he's aboard. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Christopher, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for taking the call. Hey, couple things. The viewer numbers, and I think you said something earlier yesterday, or maybe it was Friday, about the timing of the championship game being kind of bad because of the playoffs with the wild card playoffs. I think if you look back, and I'm not positive on this, but I think the championship game outdid all 4 of those wild card games.
I don't think it did. Somebody told me today.
I think it did. I heard it earlier today. Now, I just want to say that.
We got to double check that. Somebody told me today that the Buffalo-Jacksonville wild card game had higher ratings than the game last night. Now, we had to double check that. And that was a horrendous game between Bills and Jags. We will double check it. We'll have to wait and see. I do think the season.
I just heard that earlier today. I heard that earlier today.
We'll double check it.
And then of course the Rose Bowl game, you're never going to draw bigger numbers than that. And then I hope, that Saban and the coaching staff and all that sat there and said, look, we're going to have a real tough time running this ball against this team. And I hope that, before the game, they said, if we start running into a big problem, we're going to make a change. And everybody knew that was going to happen. And maybe hopefully that was all going on in the pregame stuff that they were doing.
Well, listen, he obviously and good call, Chris. I am sure. He wasn't very good against Auburn. He wasn't great against Clemson. He didn't hesitate. He stuck him in the game at halftime. He must have felt, and Kirby Smart thought he said he thought it was coming. So, I have to think that the possibility of playing him in this game was they saw Mayfield throw the ball all over the place in the first half. You'd have to think that possibility existed. That's why, one of the reasons why I'm not canonizing Nick over this scenario. Because if I'm sitting in my living room late in the first half saying, get the kid the hell out of this game. He's 3 for 8 for 20 yards. He missed a wide open touchdown in the first drive off the turnover. Get him out of the game, Nick, please. And obviously Rinaldi asked it, and Herbstreit put up in the first half. So if I'm saying that, then I can't sit there and canonize the head coach because I'm not smarter than he is. So if I'm saying it, then it's a move that had to be made, and a sports fan would interpret it from that standpoint. Alan in Atlanta, he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Al, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have?
Hey, Mike, I'm great, thanks. Enjoy your show.
Good to have you aboard there, Alan. Let me hear what's on your mind. Fire away.
Hey, I left the game last night. We enjoyed it, went to the game, and so I can't debate with you about certain calls that were or were not made. But all this talk about a few flags, it's all day after loser talk. Nick Saban put in the left-handed pineapple slinger, and to sit here and say the next day, that would have been the call we would have all made.
I made it. I made it in front of the. You want me to show you 20 people? I made it at 10 o'clock last night. I said, Nick, get the kid the hell out of the game. Maybe you give Hurts the first series of the third quarter, maybe, but get the kid out of the game. You're not winning this game with Jalen Hurts as your quarterback. Nick, if you want to win the game, you must do something. You have to try something. Give the other kid a chance. That's the first thing I said late in the first half last night. And now, be fair. If you think that those are flags, 5 of which went all against Georgia in the second half, if you think that isn't a factor in your winning, you're not being fair. That's not. You're being a fan who's got all wrapped up with pom-poms, and you're not being fair. They got every call known to man. Face mask, no call.
Mike, there's a lot of what goes into being a winner, whether it's flags or calls or whatever it may be. Bama was down 13-0. They were down 20-7. Georgia was not ready for prime time. Bama's been in plenty of situations. You put teams away. Georgia was not ready for prime time, and you said 3.5 quarters. I'll take it the second half. Alabama and the pineapple slinger freaking beat the brakes off of Georgia in that second half. And
boy, I'll tell you right now,
Al, you've got to man up, and Georgia blew it.
Listen, Georgia, they made a couple of mistakes. They got too conservative. No argument. He made a bad pass on the intercept. The kid at the safety made a bad decision. But if you're going to sit there and tell me that Alabama did not get every call known to man, did you think Georgia was not offsides on a punt block? You want to play the game from that point on? Punt block. Not offsides. They would have had the ball at the Alabama 20. How about the late hit on Fromm? How do they not call that? He slammed his head into the turf, for crying out loud. That's an automatic first down at the Alabama 25 with a minute to go in the third quarter, 20-10. You think you're going to win a game in that scenario? Just one of those 2 calls. That's all I want. One of those 2. I'll let the other 4 leave. I'll leave the other 4 alone. Give me one of those 2 calls. Both obvious, both horrendous mistakes. Let me get one of those 2 back. And if I get it back, Georgia wins the game. And remember, Al, I am not a Georgia fan. I bet Alabama. I am not a Georgia fan. I took Oklahoma. I am not a Bulldog fan. This is not sour grapes. I'm being honest. And I love the coach. I love Saban. I'm being honest. And he is an all-time great. He doesn't need me to tell him that. I mean, and I'll tell you what I admired about Saban last night, to be fair, as I've already mentioned it, I'll mention it again. You know, when Ronaldo wants to get, mushy with the 6 championships, everything else, that's not what any coach is thinking about 5 minutes after that stirring overtime win. Well, boy, now I've caught Bear Bryant. He's not thinking about that then. You know, this summer on the golf course, maybe he'll give it a little thought, but he's not thinking about that right now. And, I give him credit for it. He says, that's the last thing in my mind. I'm happy we won the game. That was a good answer. Here's Ryan in South Carolina, Mad Dog Unleashed. Ryan, good afternoon. How are you today?
Dog, first of all, let me preface it by saying I'm a Notre Dame fan. So like you, I don't have a dog in a fight. That previous caller is delusional. And here's why I think so. First of all, anyone that screams Georgia choked last night, I beg to differ, particularly your 10 o'clock slot there. That's all he screamed about this morning. I disagree wholeheartedly. As you said, Alabama got 6 second chances, the penalties that were missed, the biggest of which I believe was the blocked punt. Secondly, Georgia really made 2 mistakes in the game, dog. The one was the 3rd and 7 with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. They got to get that sack on the backup quarterback. It forces Alabama to punt the ball, maybe play field position, but Georgia's getting the ball back there. It's still 13-0.
Yeah, he got away. And I think they scored the touchdown on that drive. It's 100%
They scored
right.
the touchdown on that drive. And then you got Stephen A. Smith screaming, why is Georgia playing that defense on the final play? Dog, it's a shell 2. You know what a shell 2 is meant to do on 2nd and 26?
Keep everything in front of you. Yep.
Keep everything in front. He blew the coverage. That's my point. Thank you.
Ryan, listen, I love Stephen A. Stephen A. is not going to break down a college football game for you. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. I did not hear Adam today. If Georgia did not. Folks, are you drunk? If anybody thinks this, again, I know, we're going to mar a good feel here. 6 penalties. Jeez, all of them awful calls. All against Georgia. Now, come on, you got to be fair. I understand you want to sit there and say, Georgia, man up and this, that, and the other. You got to be fair. It comes to a point you got to say to yourself, you know what, geez, we got the breaks of all time in this game. Yeah, I got to be honest, and I think it mars the game. I love the finish. It was thrilling, but it mars the game. I know the kid coming out of Hawaii, he's on the field. You get all the gaga about that, but it mars the game. No way around it. Go ask a Georgia fan about the penalty calls. You think Kirby Smart's happy today? Or you think he's looking at you think he's screaming to the head of the officials of the NCAA quietly? Because there owns to be sour grapes, but screaming. You don't think he's on the phone this morning talking to some director of officials, whoever that might be? Guys, what are you doing to me here? Eugene in Ohio. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Eugene, take it away, pal. What do you have for me?
Hey, hello?
Yes, Gene. What's going on? Let me hear. Fire away.
Hey, man, I'm calling you from Georgia, but look here. I worked that game last night. If you want to have sour grapes today, I'll have a glass of wine with you, because you know what? They can say anything they want to. I don't know who was more empathetic, the officials or Kirby Smart. He stopped running the ball. And what about the call where the guy in the third quarter grabbed the guy's face mask?
Yeah, they didn't call it.
Which would have extended the drive. Alabama would have never got the ball. And you talking about this kid, if all those calls would have been made, he'd have been chasing a 42, he'd have been chasing about a 25-point lead.
100%. Now remember, the face mask, good call, Gene, and I didn't know you're from Georgia. The face mask came on a kickoff. It did not extend the drive. It came on a kickoff. I don't know if that face mask was superfluous, because they may have thrown the bomb on that. That either came at 20-10 or 13-7, because Alabama was kicking off. It wasn't a punt. It was a kickoff. And I don't know where that exactly came from. I'd have to look. It may have been at 13-7, and if that's the case, you can throw the face mask out, because they ended up scoring a touchdown anyway. But your point's right. They blew the call. Steve in Massachusetts. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Stevie, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hi, Doug.
Yes, Steven. Take it away. What's up?
2 points. Georgia's defensive line looked gassed at the end of the game. But the bigger point is why.
Well, they had Steve. They had a sack on the game's second to last play.
Yeah, but a couple of times the linemen weren't even getting set, and they're hiking the ball, and there was no pressure on the quarterback.
Maybe. I mean, when you have a sack on a second to last play, I don't want to hear about being gassed. Go ahead, next. Let me hear.
All right. Well, talk to me about the wild dog. Why did they keep going to that?
The wildcat thing.
They had one 3rd and 11 where Michelle went up the middle and got a good gain out of it. But the other 3 times they went to it, it was Alabama knew what was happening.
Yeah, they went to it a little too much. Too much of a good thing there, no question about it. I'm going to look at the play call sheet and come back and give you some of the thoughts on that in a sec as we continue on a busy program here on Mad Dog Unleashed.
Catch airing it